Understanding Waqf property in India. Waqf properties are often a subject of discussion in India. To understand this, we need to examine the concept of Waqf, its legal status, and the disputes related to it. 1. What is Waqf? Waqf is an Islamic legal concept where a person permanently donates their property, such as land, buildings, shops, etc., for religious or charitable purposes. Once a property is declared as Waqf, it can no longer be used for personal purposes and is managed by a Waqf board or a trust. 2. Legal status of Waqf property. In India, Waqf properties are regulated under the Waqf Act, 1995, which established Waqf boards at both central and state levels. Once a property is declared as Waqf, it no longer remains in personal ownership and comes under the control of the Waqf board. However, Waqf property is not government-owned. Rather, it is considered trust property, meant for Islamic purposes such as mosques, madrasas, dargahs, or social welfare activities. 3. Is Waqf property owned by Muslims? Waqf property is primarily used for the religious and social welfare of the Muslim community. However, legally, no individual or community can claim ownership of Waqf property. It functions like a public trust. The government cannot seize or take control of Waqf property. 4. Why are there disputes over Waqf properties? Some believe that Waqf boards have excessive powers, leading to disputes. In many places, illegal encroachments on Waqf properties occur. Sometimes, courts or the government have to determine whether a property is genuinely Waqf, which leads to legal battles. The history of Waqf in India. 1. When did Waqf begin? The practice of Waqf has existed since the early days of Islam. According to Islamic traditions, during the time of Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, property was permanently donated for religious and social welfare purposes. Islamic law, Sharia, considers Waqf as a perpetual charity, used for mosques, madrasas, dargahs, cemeteries, hospitals, and helping the poor. 2. When did Waqf begin in India? The tradition of Waqf in India dates back to before the Mughal era, 1526 to 1857. Delhi Sultanate and Mughal rulers donated land for mosques, dargahs, madrasas, cemeteries, and social welfare, and declared them as Waqf properties. Many Mughal emperors and regional rulers, such as Nawabs of Awadh and Nizams of Hyderabad, created large Waqf estates, many of which still exist today. 3. When was the Waqf board established? During British rule, there was no strong legal framework to regulate Waqf properties. In 1923, the British government introduced the first Waqf law to manage these properties. The Waqf Act of 1954 formally established state Waqf boards. Today, Waqf properties are managed under the Waqf Act, 1995, which further strengthened these boards. 4. How long has the donation of Waqf properties been happening in India? Since the 12th century, Ghulam dynasty, the Muslim community has been donating properties as Waqf. During the Mughal era, the rule of the Nawabs of Awadh and the Nizams of Hyderabad, thousands of properties were declared as Waqf. Even today, mosques, madrasas, dargahs, cemeteries, and charitable trusts continue to be established on Waqf land. Conclusion. The practice of Waqf in India predates the Mughal era. The Waqf board was formally established under the Waqf Act of 1954 and was later strengthened by the 1995 Act. Even today, the Muslim community continues to donate properties as Waqf, which are used for mosques, madrasas, cemeteries, and social welfare. Waqf property is not owned by the government or any individual. It functions as a public trust used for Islamic religious and social purposes, but the legal authority over it remains with the Waqf board. If you need specific details about any Waqf property, you need to check state Waqf board records or court orders.